Pronto, Vincenza.
Pronto, Randy, and welcome everyone to our Pronto podcast of the 28th episode of our lifestyle podcast, where we are just so always excited to talk about all the beautiful things life has to offer, whether it be fashion, inspiration, current events, favorite memories, you name it. Right? We talk about it all. And happy 28, Randy, right?
Time flies.
Right. Time flies when you're having fun. And it's been an exciting journey to be a part of this amazing podcast that we get to meet so many wonderful people, but also learn about them and their stories. And I think that's what's so special about this podcast.
People are doing amazing things.
Yes, they really are. And it's truly inspiring just for us to listen and hear their stories, because we're go-getters. If you know Randy and I, we're hardworking go-getters. We know we're never bored, right? We'd rather be busy than be bored. And we need a little inspiring every once in a while, right?
Talking about amazing things, how'd the pageant go?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It was magical. It really was phenomenal. I mean, from beginning to end, every single delegate that stepped on that stage did phenomenal. And I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And I had a little pep talk with all of the delegates prior to the show beginning. And I said to them that they needed to understand how empowering and courageous it is to step foot on this stage. And I commended them for having the courage to show up and walk through the doors that morning, because I kid you not, thousands of girls, thousands of women and girls all around are afraid to just show up. Right. And they had the courage to walk through the doors that day and step foot on that stage and be their most true, authentic self. And I was absolutely proud of each and every one of them. And a huge congratulations to the new Miss Delaware USA 2024, Alyssa Bainbridge, and the new Miss Delaware Teen USA 2024, Kayla Kosmolski. I mean, congratulations to both of them. There's a beautiful picture of Alyssa right moments when they announced her win. And just so incredible, so beautiful, very excited to be a part of her journey. And then obviously our teen, there's Kayla, so proud of Kayla, just for her to witness her journey as well, to be a part of her journey. I'm very excited for both of them. And we made history, Randy. I don't know if you followed a little. We made history in Delaware.
I have my oldest son has Down syndrome.
So you were definitely watching then.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, Kayla Kosmolski, the new Miss Delaware Teen USA 2024, is the first contestant to not only win the title of Miss Delaware Teen USA with Down syndrome, the first contestant to go off to Miss Teen USA and compete for the national title Miss Teen USA with Down syndrome. So we've made history, and she made history, and it's empowering, it's inspiring. I mean, truly magical to be a part of this and to witness this history happening and unfolding, because, after just the week, it's only been a week since both Alyssa and Kayla have been crowned the new title holders. Just learning about their journey and their stories. And it's been absolutely amazing to just hear what they're passionate about. And that, to me, is what it's all about, to be a part of their journey. And I remind them, this is your journey, not mine, not mom or dad's, not our friends, not our pageant coaches. This is yours. We're just along for the ride. So it's really wonderful. And I'm very excited for you to meet both of them.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet them both too. Like, it's sad for me because we get to know the previous ones. Like, Molly was great.
Oh, Molly and Noah. Noah. Oh my goodness, they were just incredible. I actually spoke to both of them recently, and I was like, "Oh, I miss you girls," because you go with talking to them so much throughout an entire year, and then no more. And you're like, "Hey, we're checking in on each other. Hey, we miss you." So it's really special. No, it's really special, and I am so excited to, start the new year preparing Alyssa for Miss USA and Kayla for Miss Teen USA, which will be held live in Hollywood in August. And it will be televised live on the CW
exciting.
network. So make sure you follow their journey. You can visit Kayla is at Miss Delaware So Miss DE Teen USA on Instagram, if you would like to follow Kayla's journey, if you want, and then follow Alyssa's journey at Miss DE USA on Instagram and all social media platforms. They're very active on all social media platforms. So definitely, give them a follow their journey towards the crown, because they are just working. They already hit the ground running. They're working so hard preparing for nationals in August. So stay tuned, because they already took over the social media. They're active. They made their first appearance for both of them together was meeting the lieutenant governor.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
How awesome was that?
And then television too, right?
Yes. So no, they again hit the ground running. I mean, it's been really exciting to see that, and that they're so eager to just make sure that they are taking advantage of every opportunity and the time that they have. And they only have I want to say 2.5 months to prepare for nationals, which is not a lot of time.
Yeah.
So they're working diligently. Very excited for both of them, and so proud to be a part of their journey. But I missed you at the pageant, Randy. I wish you were there.
Unfortunately, it's my birthday weekend, and my kids came down from New York and Philadelphia.
Family first.
Yeah. So, I hope someday I can be there, because I really think it's an exciting event, and I would like to be a part.
Yes. And well, you are from afar. And for those of you who don't know, and I know we say this all the time, but I'm a firm believer in making sure you recognize your sponsors, because sponsors are the backbone of the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA organization. And I'm a firm believer that it's important to talk about that and recognize that and acknowledge that. Curry Hair, Skin and Nails has been a huge support system to my title holders. Last year, this year, the year before that. And it's been truly an honor to have your support, your team's support, because it makes a difference to know that our state title holders are receiving the necessary resources to feel confident, to feel beautiful as they take on this year as a state title holder, but also prepare for nationals. Yeah. But I'm going to take it one step further, because I think it's important to mention that you not only support the state winners, you support all of the delegates. Yeah. So all of the delegates received complimentary gift cards, product from Curry Hair, Skin and Nails, not the two winners, all of the girls, all of the women, all the girls, all of the delegates that competed for the 2024 pageant received beautiful thoughts and gifts, and gift cards to all your locations. It's, just really generous. And you show that love and support to all of them. And I know the impact it makes. So thank you so much for your generosity.
My pleasure. And they posted the gifts and pictures, and it was really nice.
Yeah. So they were great with that. Yeah. And I explained to them, I said, please make sure you thank your sponsors, because without them, we are nothing. I can't do it all. I'm only one person. So it truly does take a village. Even at, in the leadership position that I have, it takes a village. Oh, yeah. I can't do it on my own. I appreciate all the sponsors that support the system, believe in the sisterhood, believe in what it stands for and its mission to empower women. And that's what I love. And I appreciate that so many small businesses, whether you're in the state of Delaware or from all around, are supporting the Delaware program. So thank you, and hats off to all of those sponsors. So, and if you want to check out our sponsors, visit MissDelawareUSA.com, click the sponsors tab. We do our best to make sure it's updated. We have to update it again because we've gained so many new sponsors for this year. So check out all of our sponsors, or just visit our social media platforms to see as we continue to recognize and do dedicated posts throughout Kayla and Alyssa's journey. Yeah. And again, Randy, your teams, they are amazing. We're very grateful for you guys. I
encourage all the businesses should get involved. It's not only the people that are competing, it's their families too.
Exactly.
You hit hundreds of people.
Yeah, no, you're so right. You just never know who will discover, your business just by a simple thought, a simple gift card, even the samples. I think you gave all of the delegates, they walked home with hairspray bottles and shampoo and oh wait, my favorite, every single delegate walked home with a Italian Kiss, the lip balm, my favorite lip balm, the Italian Kiss by Corello lip balm, my favorite. Every single delegate was able to take home one of them.
Say Corello.
Corello. Well, that's the Italian, right? But I mean, how awesome was that?
Yeah.
I even told all the delegates, I said, you realize this is a big deal. You're all taking home the iconic Italian Kiss lip balm by Carello. Like, this is huge. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It is my favorite lip balm. I mean, it pairs so well with all of my lipsticks, and I use the matte lipstick, so it pairs so well with it. But all of them received one on top of all these other gifts they received in your beautiful goodie bag that you gifted all of the delegates. So that was really special.
It's our pleasure.
Oh my goodness. Really, well, nice. Enough about me. How have you been? What's new?
I'm on the last week of grades
for
my associate's degree. So I hope to have a cap and gown on soon.
There you go. So next episode, he'll have his cap and gown on. Yeah, we'll have the 29th episode be the one, or the 30th. Maybe then we'll save it for the 30th. But that's amazing. Congratulations. And that's inspiring, because you are showing that to anyone, you're never too old to follow your dreams. You're never too old to continue your education and pursue a dream.
I really believe that your thinking creates your age. Like if you think you're old, you're old.
Mm-hmm. Age is just a number, right?
Yeah.
It's all what's in the heart. We always say that, right? It's always what's in the heart. And that's exciting. So before we introduce our guest for the show, which I'm really excited to get to know some more, because she has an interesting story. Let's talk about Mother's Day. So Mother's Day is coming up. I know that you're going to be busy. Oh, here we go. Curry Hair, Skin and Nails is having a Mother's Day shopping event. Okay, listen up, everyone. Look at that. So Friday, May 10th, from 10:30 to 4 p.m. There you go. I mean, hey, check it out. Mother's Day event. You need product. You need that lip balm I talked about, the Italian Kiss lip balm by Carello. Check out the product. Check out all the product that Curry Hair Skin and Nails offers, because there's a plethora of options.
Yes. And we'll also have representatives from some of the companies that you can ask questions and get more knowledge.
Excellent. Oh, that's always exciting. So it's not too late to purchase a gift for mom, or grandmom, or your aunt, or your neighbor, whoever you want to celebrate, that day for Mother's Day.
That evening, you can go have dinner.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. If you need to take your, that special mom out, you can visit vmbistro.com and check out the menu. We are accepting reservations for the weekend, and we will be open for Mother's Day. Usually we're not open on Sundays, but we will be open this Sunday for Mother's Day. It is the only Sunday that we open throughout the year.
I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yes. Make your reservation. Yeah. We book up quickly. So make your reservation. We still have availability, because we've learned that everybody waits until the last minute for Mother's Day. It's interesting to see that everybody waits until the last minute, but it books up quickly. So
that's because fathers are in charge.
We're not busy on Father's Day. We tried it 1 year, I think 2 years. We tried to open up on a Sunday for Father's Day. It was dead. So we're like, all right, Father's Day is not a big deal around here. So we're not even gonna, promote it. So we're not open on Father's Day, just Mother's Day. But whether you visit V&M Bistro for a Mother's Day dinner, or anywhere you decide to go, it could be just a home cooked meal. Make sure you take that time to celebrate mom.
Yeah.
Whether it's from afar or nearby, or a simple card, make sure you take that time to just celebrate that one, whether it's your mom, your stepmom, your aunt, your godmother, your grandmother. Just take that moment to do that, because I think it's important to celebrate the ones we love.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love your recent post of the food. Looks magnificent.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. We're trying to stay relevant. We're trying to stay relevant. We're 10 years of V&M Bistro this year. Number 10. And it's important that we constantly try to stay relevant. We, maybe reinvent ourselves a little bit, because I think it's important to stay fresh.
Yeah.
And
in any business.
Even though I believe consistency is key when it comes to food and service and hospitality, and what product we provide to all of our our diners, but I do feel that it's important to stay fresh. So, and even though it may be hard to implement, we try our best to try to change it up a little bit, even if it's a little bit here, a little bit there. So I'm glad that you noticed
the experience, like the pictures really represent the experience. And, my favorite, I think it's a picture of somebody making gnocchis.
Yep.
Oh, you got me on that.
We make all of our pastas fresh in house. The gnocchi, the pizza dough, the bread, all of our pastas, everything we make fresh in house by hand. Yeah. And we take great pride on our freshness the quality and freshness of our ingredients, because it does show, and you taste it in the finished product.
Yeah.
You do. You definitely do. And I've learned that because growing up in an Italian household within a chef in the house, my dad, and then being third generation in the restaurant industry, all of my grandmothers are all chefs they didn't need to go to culinary school to be a chef. You when you're exposed to that and you taste the difference, you're like, wow, the difference between using a fresh quality ingredient can make or break a dish, even if you keep everything the same. So we do take great pride in the freshness of our ingredients and the quality of our ingredients.
Yeah, the pictures, really do it justice. I want to have the gnocchis.
Oh, good. Well, you should come visit soon. If not this weekend, hopefully soon, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try it Sunday.
Excellent. Well, without further ado, it is time to introduce our guest. A native of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Anne St. Clair spent a number of years living overseas in Melbourne, Australia, and Brussels, Belgium, while working for a global, I believe it's petrochemical company. After repatriating to the United States, Anne continued her rewarding career by joining a professional services firm and serving the higher education and healthcare industries. Anne has an amazing, inspiring centenarian mother, an adult son of whom she is very proud, and is in a supportive and committed relationship. Anne believes in love, romance, and second chances. She knows how hard it is to meet someone when you're single and over 50. She also understands the internet dating can be scary and requires a person to be comfortable with being vulnerable in a digital world. Anne wrote this story to share the potential risks of internet dating. She wants readers to recognize the schemes and tactics that are used to manipulate and ultimately deceive. With this knowledge, other men and women will be more equipped to not just notice, but also heed and any red flags in emails, chats, and conversations. In addition, Anne experienced the regret of embarrassment of being deceived by another human being, and it took courage to speak about these events with family, friends, the police, and international authorities. Anne hopes, with her book, which we will talk about, encourages others not to be afraid, to share when they have been wronged, to trust that goodness will prevail over evil. And we're very excited to have Anne on. Please welcome Anne St. Clair. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Claire.
Oh,
nice to see you.
Oh, my goodness. It's so nice to have you on the show. We're very, very honored to have you here and just to share your story. And what a story. Obviously, we have the book here. We right away, when we found out you were coming on the show, Randy gave me the book, and we were very excited to have that in our hands because we were very eager to hear your story. And what a story. But before we go into that, I always like to, give our viewers and listeners just a little background, just a little bit more about, who you are. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm happy to. And I do want to say congratulations to you, Randy, for your upcoming graduation. It's super important to continue to learn as the days go by and years go by.
Thank you.
So I retired at the end of 2023. I had been working in consulting for nearly 2 decades and had been in industry before that. And I chose to retire to care for my 103-year-old mom.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you mentioned Mother's Day coming up, and every Mother's Day is very special to me.
Yes.
To have this time with Alice.
Oh, I love that. Look at that photo. And see, that's important to celebrate moms, right?
Exactly. There was an author who said, you can get more money, but you can't get more time.
Ooh.
And so having this time with her is super important.
Yes, it
Wow.
is. Yes, it is.
And
And
then, of course, I published in February. So that's the other big milestone coming out of retirement.
well, let's talk about 19 days. So, I mean, obviously, we know a little bit, but to all of our, listeners and viewers that haven't had a chance to pick up the book and are probably very eager to, find out what's this all about. So, we're just going to dive right into it. So, clearly, you experienced some online dating, and it wasn't what you had thought it would be. So, let's talk about it. So, let's talk about your inspiration on why you decided to write this book.
Yeah. It was a very embarrassing situation
Mm.
to be conned by another individual. I had felt that I had, built a relationship with someone over a relatively short period of time. And, you get connected,
Mhm.
you fall in love, and then things go sideways. And I felt that by telling this story, I'd be able to help others that have taken the courage to be vulnerable and go online to meet someone.
Mhm. Now, you were very transparent about your story in this book, and I'm sure it did take a lot of courage to be so open about you were conned.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, would you be okay with it? Just giving us a little, I guess you would say, explanation of what happened, but without obviously sharing too much about the book, because I know that you want people to purchase and read the full story. Are you able to give us just a little glimpse of what it was like?
Yeah. Maybe first, just telling us about the title, 19 Days. Yeah. I had spoke to Anne,
Yeah.
she told me, but I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. So 19 days is very, very significant. The relationship, if I may call it that I had with who I refer to as my new best friend, Tom, that relationship just lasted a month. But something very important happened on day 19. So from the moment that I decided to write this book, I knew I was going to call it 19 days because of that moment. So I'll leave that to the readers to see what happens on that day. But essentially, I went online. It took courage because I thought, why is it so hard to meet someone when you're over 50?
Mm.
Isn't there a friend who can introduce you to another single person? So I went online, and the second person that ended up linking or reaching out to me was this gentleman, Tom. And so we spent the next period of time really getting to know each other through emails, phone conversation, text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you mentioned in my introduction, I lived and worked overseas. So to me, there's nothing unusual about a person saying, hey, I'm going to be leaving for Hong Kong tomorrow for my job. I'm
Right.
like, of course you are. Like,
Right.
that made sense to me.
Right.
So that ends up starting the beginning of the con, where this person is going overseas to do business, and then ultimately I make some bad decisions to support him when he gets stuck, if you will, overseas.
Mm. And are you able to say what you did to help him, or we have to read the book for that?
So I did pay him money.
Okay.
So I have the courage now to admit that I did pay him money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something, Vincenza, about someone pacifying you.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, during our interactions, if I would question what he was saying, if I was noticing an inconsistency in a conversation, he would immediately pick up the phone and he would start saying how much I meant to him and how much he couldn't wait to meet me in person. And those words of encouragement and love and devotion were words of pacification. He was pacifying me.
Wow.
And so that's what actually enabled all of this to continue on, because I believe in the goodness of others. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I help people who need help.
Right.
And so here was a situation with, someone that I was starting to really get connected to that I helped.
Wow.
And you're right, to have the courage to put your pride aside, to be transparent about your story. I mean, that already in itself is a battle, right? You have to come to terms with, but to go through it, you feel deceived, you feel conned, and you thought you made a connection with someone. And it's important that you're sharing your story, and because there are so many people, whether they're over the age of 50 or under the age of 50, it doesn't matter the age, that there are cons out there, online dating, that you have to be so careful. And this book is also educational. It's not just sharing a true story. It's educational that, hey, you have to be careful. Whether you're a teenager in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way up, that you have to be very careful with online dating. And there's nothing against online dating, because I've heard some wonderful success stories and beautiful love stories of two people meeting each other online, and they're happily married and they have a beautiful family and they're wonderful and good people. So there are good people out there, but you have to be able to identify that and be able to just to say, hey, this is not kosher. This is not real. This is not safe. And maybe that's actually just because you went through this firsthand, what piece of advice would you give someone who is going through online dating to what are the signs to watch out for?
Yeah. I think one of the most important things is to listen to that voice in your head. Our intuition is such a powerful safety mechanism built into our brains. And it's so important to listen to your intuition. So if there's something that's telling you it's not right, absolutely listen to it. That's first and foremost. And I think if you find that you're not able to tell the whole story of the relationship to your best friend, you tell the exciting parts, you tell the fun parts, but you don't tell the part about where you made a bad decision or where you ended up doing something that was perhaps not your best moment. That's a red flag, because you should be able to tell your best friend anything. And I found that I kept some of the details of the story to myself until I wrote the book.
Wow.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. And not just dating online, all online, banking online, anything you do online, you have to be really careful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to be careful with our cell phones, our computers. You have to always be careful with online hackers, and you always have to be cautious. But more importantly, you have to be very cautious with online dating, because that's your life. And, you open up to someone you think you can trust and you think you can confide in and you can relate to, and you're vulnerable in those moments, and you've been fooled. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But dangerous, because now we're talking about your safety. Anne, I feel that you are here to tell your story. And it's important to tell your story for those that may not understand what online dating is about, and having to make sure you're cautious. But there are people that have experienced online dating where things were very bad, worse. And, that's the reality of it. There's the good and there's the bad, and that's the reality of it. And to be smart about your decision making. So before online dating for you, and did you ever have aspirations to write a book?
I didn't have an aspiration to write a nonfiction novel. I had done some writing as a businesswoman. I would write points of view. I would write industry pieces. I'd write pieces that were in my field of human resources. But this was really a first.
Excellent. Excellent. And writing a novel is a huge feat. So congratulations. I always say someday I want to write a book. I actually want to write a children's book someday. Randy knows this. I'm a huge advocate for promoting literacy, especially children's books. So that's been one of my goals in life. And hopefully someday I'll get to that. But writing a novel is big. And so congratulations. Do we expect more books in the near future?
So perhaps.
Okay.
But what I'll say is I'm using this time right now to really focus on getting the word out about 19 days. And to your point earlier, every day we read about or hear on the news about a scam or a con, and particularly to senior citizens. And the technology is just getting more sophisticated. The cons are just getting brought to a whole different level. So I feel that by not only talking about the book, but getting the book into different people's hands, it's a way to help people, to help them avoid experiencing what I experienced.
Right.
I love the way you wrote it. Like it's like reading a personal journal, like text messages. You know, like I think that's really great.
I don't know if you can see. I don't know. I'm trying to show the camera. It looks like actual text messages. Like, I mean, obviously there are different parts of the book that you speak.
Explain.
Yeah, you explain it, but you'll see that it's in text message form as if you're reading it from your phone. And that just kind of paints that picture even more of what you were experiencing firsthand.
Yeah, it was intentional to try and make the story as authentic as possible. And so by sharing text messages and emails and phone conversations, I was able to take the reader on the journey from the very first wink all the way through the different conversations and ultimately till it went off the rails. And what's interesting is initially I was going to publish under a pen name, a pseudonym. And I had chosen a name. It was Louise Sherman.
Okay.
And I learned, and you guys can determine what your pen name would be. I learned that you should think of your middle name and the street on which you grew up. So what would that be for you?
I'm in trouble.
Middle name and the street you grew up. Let me think.
Mine's James Stopville.
Mine would be Giovanna Autumnwood.
That's perfect. Autumnwood may not be as Italian, but you can modify that.
I know. I don't know how I feel about that name, but it's I've never heard of that before. That's so fascinating. So say that one more time. How do you determine your pen name?
So you consider your middle name and then the name of the street where you grew up. So I was baptized Anne Louise. So Louise was my middle name. And I grew up on the corner of Hay Lane and Sherman Road. And there was already an author named Anne Hay. So I thought, well, what about Anne Sherman? And you always have to Google the name and make sure that, there's someone else out there with that name.
Oh, I've never heard of that. That's it.
But in the end, But I think what's important is someone said to me one day, it's a true story, Anne. You need to own it.
Yes.
So publish under your name.
I agree. Yeah. And I agree. And I commend you for having the courage to be transparent and put your name and on this book and not hide, because we need women like you speaking about this stuff, speaking openly about this story and these types of stories, because it's scary. Yeah. It's scary. And this is reality, that we live in a world where there's not good people too. And we need to help protect and help inform. And it starts with education and sharing the stories. So thank you for that. We did get a question from one of our listeners and viewers. Was the gentleman that was the con, was he ever caught or held accountable? Good question.
Yeah. So the gentleman is not known. However, there were dollars that were sent overseas, and there was a shell company overseas to receive that money. And I'm a fighter, and I actually took that entity to court overseas and got my money back. So whoever owns that shell company at least paid their restitution. I don't know that I closed them down, but they paid.
That's incredible.
Wow. And good.
He didn't know who he was fooling with.
No. Well,
Exactly.
Well, you fought hard, and I'm sure it was a difficult road to go down because you're over here just trying to heal from the someone deceiving you and conning you, and now you have to go to battle. So you had that strength to overcome that and continue to fight hard, and that was important too. So thank you for fighting and not giving up on it, because you could have just walked away and said, "Okay, no." You taught that person a lesson, but now you have the book to share that story, to say, hey, listen, we're paying attention to all those cons. We're identifying those deceivers. And it's important that we see those signs. And this book really will share that information, that guidance, that, even again, going back to your story, but it will help provide that, hey, this is what you need to be able to identify. You have to. And whether it's dating or, like you said, doing business online, you got to be able to identify that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really, really important. We had another one of our guests. I believe when the economy gets bad, these types of scams happen more often. Well, that's a good point. It's a good point. We have to be careful in general, whether it has to do with the economy or just your personal life. And this is your livelihood. This is your life. You open up in a vulnerable way, a different way when it's dating, right?
Yeah.
It's just different. And I think that, again, going back to, it's important that we take it seriously. So I do want to, aside from writing and talking about the book and your novel, which we're very excited to obviously highlight, aside from writing, you traveled quite a bit. So would you tell us a little, you've been around the world. So tell us a little bit about that and, what takes you all around the world.
Yeah, it was really a remarkable time in my career. I was working for a petrochemical company, and I started off as being an HR and strategy manager for their business in Australia. So what brought me to that part of the world. And then over time, I became the head of HR for their international business. So I had the chance to live in Australia, live in Belgium, but also travel all over Asia, Southeast Asia, Eastern and Western Europe, South America. It was a remarkable time. I really had the opportunity to see so many countries around the world.
Tom made a big mistake.
Oh, yes.
A big mistake.
Well,
That's right. You know.
In your bio, you spoke about you're in a committed relationship right now, and someone had asked, have you ever found true love? And I'll let you answer that.
Yes, I
Yes.
have found true love.
Mhm.
And that could be a whole nother book, actually. There's
right.
Dave, he's my significant other. We actually grew up across the street from each other.
Oh, wow.
Our moms are still neighbors. They've been neighbors for
I love
65 years.
Wow.
So little do you know, the person of your dreams is right across the street.
Look
Wow.
at that. See, you just had to open your eyes a little bit more, right? It just had listen, timing is everything, right? And I do believe that, God's timing is important, and, the timing of how everything unfolded for you. Yes, it was a tough road. It's getting there, but it makes my heart happy that you found true love and that you did not let this terrible, traumatizing situation scar you, that you gave up on love. So thank you for not giving up on love and acknowledging that you found your true love across the street from where you lived. Oh, that's so amazing.
And Anne is a client of Curry's. And when I first met Anne, we were talking about, she has a summer home in Finger Lakes, right? Yeah. And she told me that she bought a desk, and it was Al Capone's desk.
Oh,
Indeed.
look at that. That's kind of a fun fact.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, I took my mother antique shopping with me one day, and I was looking for just a large, heavy wood desk, and we went into one antique store on the main line, just actually to get out of the car and move around a bit. And sure enough, there was a desk in the back, and they said, this desk and the credenza were Al Capone's. They came from Chicago. So it's pretty exciting actually to have that history in my home.
That's actually really neat. I think that's a fun
Yeah.
fact. Another fun fact about you.
Maybe
So
that's
funny.
another book, right?
That's another book.
Okay, so we have another question from one of our listeners and viewers. Advice for others that may be considering online dating.
I wish my book could be like the pre-read requirement for anyone before they go online, because there is advice that the different sites provide, and so I would say heed that advice. I ignored it. Heed that advice. I would also say to, besides the typical things of never meet someone, somewhere that's very private, meet someone where there's other people,
Right.
tell someone where you're going to be, those types of things.
Right.
But I think most importantly, if something goes wrong, talk about it. There was an article in the New York Times about 3 weeks ago where a gentleman was talking about a situation where he was conned, and he said, going public is the best way to out the con.
Right.
Going public. And so I would get, my advice to others would be, if something doesn't feel right, talk about it.
Right.
If something's happening that's illegal, go to the authorities. My police were the Pennsylvania State Police, and they actually put a detective on this to investigate what happened. So, they're there to protect us. So talk about it.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
Did you exchange pictures or, do video chats or?
So we did exchange pictures. We did not do video chats because of him heading off to Asia. But Randy, what's really funny is the person, my best friend Tom, he stole someone else's identity. The pictures were of someone else, and his address was this other person's address. So here's a very interesting part of the story.
He was handsome, right?
Yeah, of course he was handsome. He was handsome. He was charming. He seemed just really successful. But, I ended up sending a Valentine to the real Tom Miller in January of that year. The real Tom Miller was married. Imagine this. A Valentine sprayed with perfume saying, I can't wait to meet you. I look forward to our future together, arrives at this gentleman's house.
Oh my God.
How do you explain that to your wife?
He's still sleeping on the couch, right?
I mean, talk about being bamboozled. Like, seriously, like that's terrible.
Yeah.
And the poor guy, the real Tom, didn't even see it coming. Oh my.
No.
Well,
no.
if hopefully they can laugh about this and joke about this now that, that happened, but I'm sure it wasn't a good situation when they all discovered that Valentine. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. And I hope to give them a copy of my book not too long in the future.
Yes, that's a great idea. Speaking of a copy of your book, I believe your book is available on Amazon and BookBaby. Is that correct?
It is, as well as Barnes & Noble, really any online site where you purchase your books.
Perfect. And you can visit 19daysbook.com also. But definitely check out the for purchase on Amazon, BookBaby, and Barnes & Nobles if you're interested. And you have a social media Instagram account that people can follow you and follow your journey as you continue to write more books, and we can stay tuned.
I'll be using 19daysbook.com for that for the next year or so.
Excellent. We're very excited. Well, Anne, we are concluding the end of this amazing interview.
Yeah.
And really and we appreciate you coming on Pronto podcast to share your story, share your very successful book and your novel. And we encourage everyone to check this out and purchase and support and learn. This is obviously informative, very educational, and it's important to share the story. So preventative, right? Yep. That's what we think about, preventative. Yep. But before we end, we always like to ask our guests a traditional ending question. So the question is, if you could chat with anyone from the past or present on a podcast, who would it be and why?
A very interesting question. I would say I would love for you to chat with one of our founding fathers. So someone like Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the US Constitution. And I say that because I think he would lend the perspective of what the intention was of the Constitution. And just as importantly, it would be interesting to hear his perspective on his reaction to how modern courts and judges are interpreting it.
Wow.
So
Oh.
Thomas Jefferson.
There
That's
you
a great-
go. Good one. And that's a
Yeah.
different one too. So that's a good one. Well, thank you so much, Anne. Again, thank you for joining us on our Pronto podcast. And we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And we wish you so much luck and success and continued love. Obviously, it's beautiful to share love stories. I'm a big dreamer. I'm a big advocate for love and embracing love. And we love that you shared your story with us. So thank you for joining us.
And I was betting that you were going to have Tom on your podcast.
Oh, great.
Oh, I would have loved that.
Well, Anne, thank you again. And
Thank you,
again,
Anne.
good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. It was an honor. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Incredible, right?
Yeah, no, this is it's a moving story, but it's scary too,
Right.
Randy. Like just thinking about it, like this really does happen to people. It
Yeah.
really does happen more often than we would ever imagine.
To a person like Anne, she's really traveled, intelligent.
Mhm.
You wouldn't think that would happen. I think good people trust other people. Like
Mhm.
you won't, you hate to think that somebody's going to do something to you.
Right. It's when you're vulnerable and you don't, you may not see the signs immediately, and it's scary, but it's important to be well aware.
Right.
You have to be aware. You have to see the signs. You have to always make sure you're safe. And we touched on it a little bit about dating, meeting someone online and then meeting them in person. Always meet in a public place. I've never experienced online dating myself. I've never experienced it myself. I just have friends that have, and what I have taken away from it, the biggest piece of advice I could give someone, even though I've never experienced it, but just kind of common sense would tell you, if you met someone online you've never met before, and you're going to meet them in person, meet in a public place. And this advice was given to me, even though I didn't need it, but it was just sharing, insight that go to the location. You pick the location. You go to the location ahead of time. Share with the bartender. Share with the hostess. I'm meeting someone for the first time. I'm just letting you know that if I order this particular item or if I order a drink, this is the sign of I need help and I need to get out of it. Have an escape route, have an exit strategy. There's nothing wrong with that. Your safety comes first and you have to be prepared. So this is inside information that people have shared with me on how they treat online dating to the point where they're meeting this person they've never met before in person. You pick the location, you meet at a public place, you go there early, and you have an exit strategy if you feel uncomfortable or you don't feel safe. And that's really, really important. And you control the situation and share your location. Share your location on your phone. I'm a firm believer in that one.
Back in my day, we went to a bar and that's where you met a nice
Listen,
girl.
Randy, back in my day too. Okay. So you're not that old. It wasn't at the time, in college, online dating wasn't a thing for me. And it, obviously wasn't a thing for you, but it is very relevant today. And I've heard so many beautiful love stories from online dating, really beautiful love stories. And I know so many wonderful people that have met the love of their life or even made friends, the bestest of friends from online dating, whether they were, they decided to, commit to the relationship or just remain friends. And, it can be positive, but you have to be smart. You have to be very smart about it. And this book really shares, information of the signs. Pay attention to the signs. And I'm very eager to understand the 19 days. So you have to read the book to understand the 19 days.
I'll tell you.
All right, but don't share it because we want our listeners and viewers to make sure they go support.
I think
Anne.
that's the best part of the book.
That's the best part of the book. You have to go and support Anne and purchase the book to find out why it's called 19 Days. Yeah. Well, Randy, another great episode.
Yeah.
Happy 28th. Yeah, happy
I
28th
can't-
episode of Pronto.
I can't believe it's 28.
I
right?
know. And we have another episode coming up. So stay tuned. Please go follow us. We have our own social media platform, our social media account on Instagram, the Pronto Podcast. And we're very much up to date. We post when our next episodes are. Go check us out if you want to follow who will be next.
Right.
And if you're interested in joining us and being featured and highlighted on our podcast, definitely reach out. Shoot us a message on our Instagram page. We always are looking for influential, incredible guests to share your story, your book, your business, whatever it may be, or your story, whatever, it's just inspiration, or just, you just want to come on and chat with us, right?
And we keep you up to date with the previous guests, what they're up to. Like
Right.
whether they're writing books or
We love
events.
because we love supporting one another, and that's what it's all about. We
Yeah.
continue to support the ones that support us. So thank you for all that. And again, Randy, thank you for, as always, being my awesome co-host.
No, thank you.
All right. Well,
And everybody run to V&M Restaurant.
V&M
to,
Bistro?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. No,
Bistro.
that's okay. Yeah. V&M Bistro for
Yeah.
Mother's Day weekend. Thank you. All right. Pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Vincenzo.